Good evening, everyone. I am Jerica Okog. Now I am going to continue the discussion with regards of the aquaculture. So now let's proceed to the importance of aquaculture. So the first one, it is the source of food. So supplies a quality source of nutrition for a growing population. So the aquaculture is important of source of food kay diha ta nagakuwag mga food like mga fish. So literally, so aquaculture is kind of the water farming. So diha ta nagakuha og mga fish, pwede pod mga aquatic plants like mga seaweed. So diha ta nagakuha og mga foods nga ginakaon nato daily. So napoy uban mga tao nga dili sila pwedeng mga karni. So ginakaon jud nila is pwede sila sa fish. So ang fish is good siya sa atong health. So it is probably the fastest growing food production sector and now accounts 50% of the world fishing that is used for the food. So, ang fish, di ba, it is a vital source of food for the people. So, it is the most man's single source of high quality of protein. It is high quality of protein like fatty acids, so the vitamins, the minerals, and essential micronutrients. So aquatic plants such as mga seaweed are also important source of the aquaculture as they provide nutrition, livelihood, and other important industrial uses. Now, let's proceed to the second importance of aquaculture. So, it provides valuable non-food products. So, for example, kanang fine leather. So, for example, a fine leather is the eel skin or alligator hides. So, as you can see the picture na may nakita nga bag, di ba? So, kanang nga bag is muna siya ang alligator skin. So, literally, mahalon jud na siya nga bag kay gikan man siya sa skin nga animal. So, now let's proceed to the cultural pearls from oysters. So, as you can see this picture, so na white kanang pearls. So kanang usually ginagabaligya na siya is kanang ginagamit na is usually kanang jewelry. So jewelry nga mga products. So for example kana pud sa mga badyaw nagabaligya sila mga perlas kanang ingana. So usually kanang mga kwintas, kanang mga sa earrings. So naa siya kanang usually mahalon jud na siya kay kuan man siya original. So now let's proceed to the shell and skeleton parts from home or for home and business decoration. So as you can see that picture, kana siya is nindo siya, di ba? Kanang more attractive ang balay kung naa siya pang design. So kanang mga shell. So nagsiga-siga siya, di ba? So nice siya tan-awon. Kanang feeling mo nga naadyo ka sa dagat. So ma-amaze ka. Now let's proceed to the frog and other aquatic animals for educational purposes. So for example, that is kanang experiment for educational purposes para sa kanang mga biological or gina-experiment nila for the biological phenomena. So now let's proceed to the less valuable cells are used in paving roads and ornamental landscaping. Pwede siya sa garden. So para imong garden is more attractive. So na siya tan-awon para sa mga uban. So now let's proceed to the two forms of aquaculture na ay warm water aquaculture and the cold water aquaculture. So ang kanang warm water aquaculture is the raising of animals and plants that can perform well in the fresh and warm water. So mga example ng mga fish are the crayfish, the ornamental fish, the catfish, and sport fish. So kana siya usually is kanang sa mga fish pond. So now let's proceed to the second forms of aquaculture. It is the cold water aquaculture. So the raising of the animals and plants that can perform well in the fresh and cold water. So kana may example niya mga fish is the trout and mga salmon. So anang trout kanang because sa cold water fish siya kay during the winter di ay mag-move na siya from up to deep to swallows, replacing the small fish that inhabit the area during the summer. So kana nga mga kind of fish kanang two forms of aquaculture ang cold water aquaculture and the warm water aquaculture, kanang mga fish is naadyo na sila yung mga place nga fit sa ilaha or applicable nga para sa ilaha. So mabuhi sila kana nga kind nga kanang lugar or nga tubig. So now let's proceed to the aquaculture of or categorized as per the degree of intensity. So there are three: the intensive and semi-intensive and the extensive. So first is the intensive. So when we say intensive, it is used to involve the high density of organism culture with the nutritional and regular complete feeding. So kanang intensive aquaculture naga-involve na siya og intervention from growing process such as with the supplemental feeding and the water aeration. So kanang example ana niya is such as kanang mga prone farming. So intensive aquaculture nag-realize lang sila sa more on technology na siya nga mabuhi ang mga fish kanang kind nga anang degree. So artificial tanks and very high of density kanang intensive aquaculture. So although kanang intensive aquaculture is completely mechanized and self-contained, it can have detrimental impact of the environment. The biggest problem caused by the intensive aquaculture is the difficulty in properly dealing with the nutrient-rich effluent. So the effluent contains the high levels of both organic and organic nutrients. So kanang intensive fish farming nag-involve na siya og high level of inputs and shocking the ponds with as many fish as possible. So now let's proceed to the semi-intensive. So it involves the lower density with some direct feeding and naturally occurring feed. So ang semi-intensive fish culture system is more prevalent and involves rather the small ponds. So naa siya 0.5 to 1 hectare in area. So with the higher shocking density of 10,000 to 1,500 fish or hectares. So in this system, care is taken to develop natural foods by fertilization with or without the supplemental feeding. So now let's proceed. The last is the extensive. So kaning extensive naga-involve siya sa mga organisms of the lower density with naturally occurring feed. So extensive aquaculture is the other form of fish farming food ana siya. So kanang extensive aquaculture is more basic than the intensive aquaculture in that less effort is put into the husbandry of the fish. So the extensive aquaculture is done in the ocean, natural and man-made lakes, the bays and the river. So extensive aquaculture allows to stock to grow on its own and using the natural food source and the condition kanang mga such as kanang mga oyster farming. So under all those three areas, these are the several water environments that needed of particular species. So that's all my report, and thank you for listening, and God bless all.